Alright, today I wanted to talk about some of the indie games that stood out from the recent conferences. There were a ton of different games, so this won't cover them all, but let's get right into it. Beloved Rapture is a retro JRPG styled game that definitely feels very familiar for anyone that played old school JRPGs from the SNES era. It has no random encounters, no forced grinding, which is always something that I appreciate, and it has a lot of focus on story. That story appears to be pretty interesting. Focuses on ideas that explore themes like trauma, friendship, existentialism, and LGBT themes, which is pretty cool because we don't have a lot of games that explore that, especially in this style. Definitely one to look out for, and it will be coming out on Steam sometime in 2024. The next is Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire. This one really stole the show for me. It's an indie homage to the classics, and it seems like one classic in particular. All my homies love Skies of Arcadia, and this appears to bring back some of those themes. A welcome return, if you ask me, since we haven't had any games which go there in some time. You take the reins of a protagonist named Glenn, and you assemble a team of sky pirates to fight a foe known as the Alliance. One of the more interesting looks in this game is the turn-based dogfights. That's right, when you take to the skies, you actually get to engage in turn-based combat, which means you'll be spending time kitting out your airships, finding the right crew, and customizing your team. The developer says they're inspired by Studio Ghibli, so expect to see some awe-inspiring scenery, but remember, this is a smaller dev team taking their first foray into this particular style of game. So what they have shown off so far is particularly impressive. You can get it on all current gen platforms, and it will release sometime in 2024. Escape from Ever After might look a bit familiar to fans of a certain Flat Plumber. This Paper Mario-inspired game takes you on a journey against capitalism, where you'll be exploring what happens when a conglomerate turns a castle into their new corporate HQ. Looks like a very fun, lighthearted adventure, and has a large variety of locations to explore, from industrial waste fills to beautiful docks by the bay. I'm always happy to see games in this style, because for some reason, all the games that I've tried in this style have been pretty great. Take a look at Bug Fables if you haven't. This one looks to follow that trend, so I'll be checking out when it comes out on all current gen platforms. Whenever it gets announced, the date hasn't been announced yet. Crypt Custodian follows the trend of beautiful Metroidvanias that we've had in the last decade or so I'm totally there for it. This time you'll be cleaning the afterlife with Pluto, a cat who has just passed to the next life. Unfortunately, after that passing, you are sentenced to clean forever. Something that would be horrifying for me. There are baddies and friendlies alike that you'll be interacting with on your journey, and it looks like there's a lot of different locations that you'll be going to along the way. You'll be collecting different abilities to dash your way around, and you'll be doing it with style. Crypt Custodian releases in the third quarter of 2024, so expect it sometime in late summer or the fall. You can get it on Steam. Under the Island is a cute action RPG reminiscent of the old 90s games. Basically, seems like if Zelda: A Link to the Past was an isekai with a young female protagonist, and that comes with everything you'd expect of that. With 6 different unique zones to go through, complete with dungeons and all different kinds of enemies. You can also befriend the various animals that you meet along the way. Not sure what that means, but that's what it said, so it sounds interesting to me. Definitely a solid looking indie game with a lot of very well done art. It will be coming to Steam whenever it is finished. Wanderstep is a game that I think a lot of people have been looking forward to, as it comes from the developer of The Stanley Parable, a super interesting game that confused the hell out of me back in the day. This time you are running a quaint and cozy tea shop, but the protagonist has their own demons to deal with, as they were a one-time fighter turned tea maker. She constantly is fighting the urge to quit this life and go back to what she knows, being a warrior. So surely there will be plenty of twists and turns throughout the game. It'll be interesting to see whether she finally comes to love her little tea shop or if the demons win out in the end. It will be coming to PS5 and Steam sometime later this year. This one was a bit of a surprise for me. I didn't think I'd be saying that one of the standout games of the early showcases is a Power Rangers game. Power Rangers Rita's Rewind, which is a fresh take on the old TMNT beat-em-up style, complete with the ability to play in co-op and a ton of different enemies to defeat. It also appears to go off the rails by going on the rails as a rail shooter, and even pulls you into a Road Rash style situation where you're shooting people with missiles and stuff. Either way, the game looks great and super chaotic in the best way. It'll be coming to PC and consoles sometime in 2024. This one is a 3D Metroidvania where you play as two characters that are destined to fight each other. Abyss X Zero was one of the more interesting games that I've seen recently in the Metroidvania genre, which is pretty crowded in the indie space, so standing out among all of that is probably a good sign. Probably the biggest reason that it stood out so much is it reminds me of Mega Man Legends. The 3D style mixed with 2D stylized characters is a really cool style that I don't think has been done enough. The gameplay also looks like a lot of fun. It combines platforming, action RPG combat with a lot of quick movement, and possibly a grappling hook. If they pull this one off, it could definitely be a hit, so you can check it out on Steam, and it will release at some point. There's no release date yet. That is all of them. Hopefully you found something that looks cool. I know I definitely did. Thanks for watching.